Hi everybody, this is Algebra 1 Lesson 40. This lesson covers quotient rule for exponents and distributive property of rational expressions that contain negative exponents. Alright, so first of all, the quotient rule, it just means to subtract, okay? Because what this means when we visualize this, we've got 6 x's on the top, and we've got 4 on the bottom, all multiplied times each other. Okay, when you have a fraction like that, x divided by x, right, those cancel each other and you just have 1, right? So those are going to cancel, and 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 you just end up with 2 x's left on the top and nothing on the bottom, just a 1, so that means we don't even have a fraction. So that just leaves x squared, right? Or another way to look at it is, remember, if we move a fraction to the other side of the fraction bar, we change its sign to negative. So that would be 6 minus 4, which is 2, right? So you just subtract when you move it to the other side. All right, this one asks us to write the x's in the denominator instead of the numerator. So denominator down, that's the bottom of a fraction. So if we move that down, we're going to change its sign to negative. So we're going to have x, and 4 minus 6 will be negative 2, and we're going to have that under 1. Right, because we got rid of all this. We're just going to have 1 left up there. Okay, this next one just says simplify. And there's 2 different ways that we can simplify this. We can write it with everything at the top, right? So we can move that to the top, and that would be plus 4. So we would have x to the 10th. If we moved it down instead of up and moved it to the bottom of the fraction, right, we would do minus 6. So negative 4, negative 6 would be x negative 10, and we'd have to put a 1 over that. And see how those mean the same thing. Both of these are equal to each other. They're both valid answers to that. You can write that either way. All right, so on this one, it says simplify. And we could either do that where we move them to the top or the bottom. Once again, either answer is correct. So if we move that to the top, we would turn that into minus b. So we would have x, negative a, negative b. If we move them to the bottom, we would have plus a. So we could have 1 over x, b plus a, or a plus b. Right? Those are equal to each other. Both of those are valid answers as well. Okay. Next one. This one we have several, and we have to simplify it. Okay, and there's several different ways that we could write that. We could write 4 different expressions that mean the same thing here. All right, so the first way, we're going to move everything to the top of the fraction bar, right? We just want a whole number. We don't want it to be a fraction anymore. So we're going to move this 3 to the top, and really z without an exponent means z to the 1. And when we move that z to the top, we're going to do plus 3 instead of minus 3. So we're going to have z, 3 plus 1 would be to the 4th. Now this y, when we move it to the top, we're going to have to do minus 2. So that would be 6 minus 2 would be y to the 4th. And our x, that's really 1. We're going to have to move that to the top. We'll do minus 1. Negative 5 and negative 1 are negative 6. I kind of wrote those backwards. We want x first, and then y. See, x to the negative 6, y to the 4th, and z to the 4th. Okay, another way to write that would be with everything on the bottom. So if we moved all of those to the bottom, right? Let's do that again. Move all those to the bottom. We're going to go x to the bottom, that's minus 5, so we're going to go plus 5. So 1 plus 5 is going to be 6. And then our y, that would turn into minus 6. 2 minus 6 would be negative 4. And our z, that would be 1, so we would make it into minus 1. That would be z negative 4. See how that means the exact same thing as this. Okay. There's another way that we could write it. We could write it with all of our exponents positive, right? So we would need to move these negative ones on the bottom up to the top. Or on this one, if we looked at it, we would need to move that x down to the bottom to get rid of that negative. So we would have x to the 6th on the bottom and y to the 4th, z to the 4th on the top. That is also correct. It means the exact same thing. One last way that we could write it is with all of our exponents negative. So we would just swap these, and we would have x to the negative 6 on top, y to the negative 4 on the bottom, z to the negative 4 on the bottom. So that's the last way, and all of those mean the exact same thing, and all those answers are correct. All right, the next one asks us to use the distributive property to expand, and we want to write the answer with all exponents positive. So here's our problem, and this is 40.6. Whenever you see distributive property, that just means rainbow. Okay, so we've got 4x to the negative 2 over y to the 4th times y to the 4th x squared minus 3x to the 4th over y negative squared. All right, probably the easiest way to do this is, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could rainbow it first, so we're just going to be rainbowing here, and then move all your exponents so that they're positive. Or you can move all your exponents so that they're positive first, then rainbow. We'll just rainbow first. Anytime you have a whole number in anything like this, you're going to put a 1 on the bottom of it. All right, so now for this top, I'm going to go 4. So I don't have any number to multiply by right there, so I'm just going to have 4. And then I've got x negative 2, x positive 2. That means 2 minus 2, so I'm not going to have any x's, but I will have y to the 4th. So I have to look at everything in this and everything in this and put them together. Okay, now I've got y to the 4th over 1, so that would just be y to the 4th. Okay, now I'm going to have a 4 there because of that 4. And oh no, I don't have a 4. I have 4 times 3. So if you have numbers, you gotta multiply those numbers together. So 4 times 3 would be 12. And we have x negative 2, x 4, so that would be 4 minus 2. So that means that we're going to have x to the 4th. No, 4 minus 2 is 2. X squared on the top. And then on the bottom, we're going to have 4 minus 2, so that would be y squared. Okay, now if we look at this, y to the 4th over y to the 4th, those can cancel each other, right? Or if we move that one up from the bottom, we'd have minus 4. 4 minus 4 is 0, so there's no y's. So we would have 4 minus 12x squared over y squared. All right, and that would be the answer to that with all of our exponents positive. Now, a lot of times it's going to tell you how it wants you to write your exponents. If it doesn't tell you how to write them, then you can do it however you want, and then I will just make sure that it's equivalent when I'm grading. All right, so the next one is 40.7. Right here. And this one asks us to expand, use the distributive property to expand, write the answer with all the variables in the numerator. So I've got x negative 2 y times y to the 4th over x squared minus x to the 4th over y squared. All right, this time I'm going to go ahead and put all of my variables in the numerator first before I expand. So I'm going to move this up to the top, and I'm going to move that up to the top. All right, so I don't have to do anything with this first term because it's already in the numerator. So I've got x negative 2 y times this one. I'm going to have x negative 2 when I move that x up, right? And then I'm going to have y to the 4th. Then when I move that one up, it'll be x to the fourth, y negative 2. Okay, see how I just turned that y into a negative as I moved it up. I turned this x squared into an x negative squared when I moved it up. Now I'm going to rainbow. So I've got negative 2 and negative 2 would be negative 4. And then I've got y 1. Remember, if it doesn't have a number, then that means 1. Plus 4 would be 5, so y to the fifth minus. Now I'm going to distribute there. So I've got x negative 2 and x 4. So 4 minus 2 would be 2, so that would be x squared. And then I've got y1, y negative 2. So 1 minus 2 would be negative 1. X negative 4, y to the fifth minus x squared, y negative 1. All right. Whoops. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, this is 40.8. And it says, use the distributive property to expand. Write the answer with all variables in the denominator. So that means we want all the variables at the bottom of the fraction. So I've got k squared b over p negative 2 a b negative 1 over k squared minus 4p squared over b. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of these to the bottom of the fraction first, or you could go ahead and distribute first. I think moving them down first works better. So all I'm going to do is change the sign on the ones that are on the top. So I've already got p negative 2 on the bottom. I'm going to have a 1 on top. Then I'm going to move my k down, so that 2 would turn into negative 2. And my b down, that b would turn into b negative 1. Okay, and then I'm going to do this next one. So I'm going to move everything to the bottom. So I already had k squared. Then I'm going to have a negative 1. And then my b would turn into positive 1. So just write b. Alright, and then this last one, moving all that down to the bottom, just the one is on the top. So I'd have b. Nope, I need to leave the 4 on the top. I'm not moving my numbers down. Just moving my variables. So my p squared becomes p negative squared. Okay, so then I'm going to distribute here. 1 times 1 is 1, so there's my top. And then I'm going to distribute here. So I've got p negative 2. I don't see any other p's, I'm combining with that. So for my k, I've got k negative 2 and k2. 2 minus 2 is 0, so those pretty much cancel each other out. Then I have b minus 1 and b1. 1 minus 1 is 0, those cancel each other out. So I'm just going to have this p negative 2. Alright, then 1 times 4 is 4. So 4 goes on the top. And then we're going to rainbow this way. So p negative 2 would be p negative 4. Negative 2 and negative 2 is negative 4. Right, and then k negative 2. I don't have any k's over there, so I'm going to write a k negative 2. And then I've got b negative 1, b negative 2. No, b1. That's p negative 2. b1, negative 1, b positive 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, so there's no b on that one. So 1 over p negative 2, a. Where's a? Oh, I forgot my a. Huh. A had to go down there. There it is. Forgot about my a negative 1. There we go. A negative 1 right there. Are there any other a's in there? No. Okay. And then minus 4 over p negative 4k squared. Yep, there's the answer. Don't miss any. I missed that a on that one. Alright, now it's time to pause the video and work the practice problems, and then I'll come and work them for you. Alright, so hopefully you pause this video to work the practice problems. And and now I will work them for you. All right, so we're going to start with A, and A has x negative 3 over, where'd that come from? It's not x negative 3. Okay, it says, simplify, write the answers with all the variables in the numerator. So we want everything on the top. And it's got x negative 6, y to the 4th, z to the 5th over x negative 6, y to the 5th, and z squared. All right, so we're moving all of these up to the top. So my negative 6 turns into positive 6. Positive 6 and negative 6 are going to cancel each other, so we're not going to have any x's. I'm going to move this 5 to the top. It's going to turn into negative 5. 4 minus 5 will be 1, so I have y negative 1. And then I'm going to move the z to the top, so that would turn into negative 2. I'm going to have z. 5 minus 2 would be 3. All right, B has m to the 4th, p to the 3rd, z to the 10th, and d over m negative 2, p to the 4th, z negative 6, and d negative 2. All I'm doing is moving these up. So as I move that one up, that's negative 2. I'm going to turn it into positive 2. So m, 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to move up this p to the 4th, so I'm going to turn it into minus 4. So it would be p, 3 minus 4 is negative 1. This z, I'm going to turn it from negative 6 into positive 6. 10 plus 6 would be z to the 16th. And then I'm going to move that one up, and it would turn into plus 2, and I already have 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. That's D. Okay, and then C. These were supposed to expand, write the answers with all the variables in the numerator. So they want all variables on top of the fraction, no fraction. So I've got z negative 3 over m times x to the 4th over m squared minus z to the 3rd over m. All right, first I'm going to move all of my variables to the top. So I'm going to have z negative 3, m negative 1 times, move that one up. So that'd be x to the 4th, m negative 2, and move that one up. So that would be z to the 3rd, m negative 1. Okay, now I'm going to do my rainbowing. Alright, so z, m, they both got it. Alright, so there's no other z's, so I'm going to have z negative 3. My m's, I have negative 1 and negative 2, so that'd be m negative 3. And then my x to the 4th. Okay, now I'm going to rainbow here. I've got z negative 3 plus 3, that would be no z's left. M minus 1 and minus 1, that would be m's negative 2. Alright, last one. M to the negative 5th over w to the 4th x minus, this is in parentheses, that's the worst parentheses I've ever seen. There we go. Minus cw squared x to the 3rd m. What is that? 3cm. Alright, let's get some room here. There we go. Alright, So first I'm going to move all of my variables to the top because it says I'm supposed to write that with the variables in the numerator. So that one's going up and that one's going up. So first I've got an m, -5. Then I'm going to have a w, -4 because I changed the sign, and an x, -1. I moved that up. So it started out as 1, turns into -1. Then I've got c is fine, w squared is fine. This x has to go up, so that would be x, -3, and my m has to go up. That would be m, -1. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to have m, -2. Oh, whoopsie, I don't need my fraction bar. Oh, I do. My 3 has to stay down there. My c turns into -1, and my m turns into -1. Alright, now I'm going to do my distributive property. So m, -5, m, -2 would be m, -7. Okay, there's my m's. Use those. W -4. There are no other w's. Alright, x, -1. There are no other x's. Oh, whoopsie. Gotta go the other way. Ha 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 ha. Let's do that the other way. You gotta be careful when you're rainbowing. You always think to go from left to right, but really, this one, we're gonna have to go from there to there, right? And then from there to the middle. Alright, so that was m, -7. W, -4. X, -1. I see what I did wrong when I moved that up to the top. Okay, so let's look right here. If I move that up to the top, that's going to be -1. That's going to be -3 right there. And then our c is -1. There we go. Okay, so we went there, and we said -3. Alright, so that would be -8, not 7. There we go. Now our w, -4, can't combine with anything over there. Our -1 can't combine with anything over there. Then we'll just have c, -1. Okay, and that's going to be over 3 because this would be distributing to there with that being over 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Alright, next we're going to do, we're going to rainbow from here to here. Okay, so once again we have a 3 on the bottom. Alright, m, -3. -3 and -1 would be m, -4. And then let's see, I'm -4, and then I'm going to have a c and minus c. That would be 1 minus 1 would be 0, so we don't have any c's. W squared, we don't have any other w's, so we'll have to do w squared. X to the 3rd. And that should be the answer. Let me double check that one. Okay, lesson 40D, we've got m to the -8, w to the -4, x to the -1, c to the -1 over 3, minus w squared, yep, x to the -3, m to the -4 over 3. Yes, all that is right. All right, that is it for lesson 40. Thanks for watching.